Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, Infinite Crypto Cruisers. Hey there, folks. My name is Brad Varnell. This is the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. And today it is Tuesday, Trader Tuesday. And I just want to give a shout out to my son who created this incredible thumbnail for me. And so I was trying to get rid of that little notification on button since we're already live, but just wanted to give a shout out to my son, Joshua. We are still using BYDFI as of today to do some trading, but we've got a couple of new sponsors that we're looking into. In fact, some of you guys might already use a couple of these exchanges that we're looking at. So we're looking at Weeks, WEEX, and we're looking at BitTinex. Both of those exchanges are possibly going to be coming on board and sponsoring the Infinite Crypto YouTube channel. So for right now, though, we're going to just do Varnell Trader Tuesdays. And thank you, son, for the incredible thumbnail. I hope everybody is having an amazing Monday. Another little bit of housekeeping that I want to give you guys a quick update on is... Let me see here. Let me go just to my channel. Today at 3 p.m., we were supposed to have a live stream for the Wonder token that is getting ready to launch. And unfortunately, the CEO of Wonder had a medical emergency this morning. And so I'm actually going to go in and get rid of this stream. So do not set your timers for 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time today. Unfortunately, this stream is going to get pushed back a week or two. But this is a project that I'm really, really excited about. And I'm looking forward to interviewing the CEO and giving you guys an opportunity to take a closer look at this project. And it's also a special opportunity because our community is going to have an opportunity to go in and purchase some pre-sale tokens if we like what we see. So definitely keep this one on your radar. We're also going to be doing a $100 giveaway when we do this video. So, but with that, yeah, no 3 p.m. live stream for Wonder today. Although we do have, might as well just mention it briefly while I'm here. We will have tomorrow at noon. I think it's at noon. Yeah, noon Pacific Standard Time. We're doing a live stream interview with NEURAHUB. And man, this is a layer 1 blockchain that looks just absolutely massive. It's only got about a $10 million market cap. We might talk about it on the Microcap Gem live stream for a moment tomorrow leading up. But go in and notify yourself. You can hit this notify button right here. This will notify you, give you a reminder, because I know you guys aren't used to listening to me at 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But this is going to be an exciting interview and hopefully a big project to very, very highly consider, getting some funds into. I'll just pull it up here real fast. NEURAHUB. We can see here, once again, sitting at about an $11.5 million market cap. It's up a little bit here. But, if you get an opportunity and want to go do some research on it, I'm probably going to talk about it a little bit more tomorrow. But, yeah, with that, I think that's kind of the housekeeping and the important things that I wanted to mention, keep up on your radar. The other thing that obviously we're all curious about here is what is Bitcoin doing? What is Bitcoin going to do? We've got the, FOMC meeting tomorrow. Folks, I kind of think that that's going to be a nothing burger. From what I understand, the odds of them raising rates or lowering rates is about zero. They're like there's a 99% chance from what I'm looking at that the rates are going to stay the same. There's a 1% chance that they do a rate, that they lower the rate, and there's a 0% chance that they actually raise the rates. So I don't think that tomorrow's meeting is going to do a whole lot for the markets. I have noticed, Bitcoin was starting to, look like it was going to do something relatively, like it was, starting to move back, into a better range here. If we look at the 24-hour chart, we were all the way up to almost 84,000 And now here we are back in the $81,000 range. I think that's good for us when it comes to trading, but it's I agree with what Greg is saying. Whatever it is, it's already baked in. I think that we're not going to see a big pump or a big dump over whatever that they announce tomorrow, unless, somehow, if we get the 1% and if we get the 1% and if we get the 1% and the markets drop. I noticed I didn't have my camera turned on. Luckily, I was doing screen share. It's better than having my mic muted, but I noticed I didn't have my camera turned on. So, but if somehow we got the 1% and the rates got lowered, I think that would be good for the markets. At least, short term, we would certainly get a pump, especially with it being that unexpected. But once again, when the odds are showing at 99% for no change, I'm pretty sure that that's exactly what we are going to get. So let me run over here. I want to say hi to everybody that's been here with us this morning. Good morning, John. Good morning, Dave P. Dave P, that reminds me, maybe you have updated your YouTube, or maybe you sent me a Cardano wallet address in Discord or someplace where I haven't seen it yet, but you still have $50 worth of the ByDefi tokens coming to you, and I want to make sure that I get you paid. So the other 3 people updated their bio and got paid that same day or the next day. I wasn't able to get you paid yet, Dave. So feel free to shoot me a decentralized private wallet, not an exchange Cardano wallet address, and I will get those ByDefi tokens sent over to you. Dave, Matthias, how you doing? Welcome back. Hope you're doing fantastic, having a great week. Mr. Greg Nowak, bless you for being here, man. Good to see you. XM Textiles, good morning. Eric Bernstein, hello, man. Hope you are doing fantastic. We got Pablo Noodles in the house. Hello, man. Good to see you. And yeah, man, I'm glad that all of you are doing great. So Greg says he need to add one for a 6 to 8 month hold. All good projects, but I can't decide. Maybe you can offer your opinion. Engine or injective, SWI, or render. Man, I think all 3 of those are really good tokens. Do you have the ability to be on the Microcap Gem live stream tomorrow morning at 9 a.m., Greg? If you can be on that, why don't you come back and ask that question on the Microcap Gem live stream, and we can get some input from Deadwood and Pablo and Tim G if he's here, and Eric, and some of the OGs, John, and just all of you guys that are here every day. I would love to hear their opinion a little bit on that too. And then once again, if any of you would like to hop on the channel and kind of be here on the stream with me for a couple of minutes, feel free to to let me know. I'm happy to pop you up on the screen, have a little conversation with you in person. I mentioned it the other day. If you're a little shy or you just don't want people seeing your face, I'm happy to let you come in without your camera on. Just your voice. If you want to have your camera on, you're welcome, to do that too. But feel free to let me know. On Twitter, you can DM me on Twitter, Discord. You can DM me on Telegram, and I'm not going to probably just let some random stranger that I've never seen on the show come and get live in front of you guys, but I will definitely, for those of you that I know, happy to pop you up onto the screen. And then doing something a little bit new today. I don't know if it's showing up on YouTube. I was trying something out here that I hadn't seen before. No pressure here, guys, by any means, but I decided to do this new chat thing. So we've got 0 of 10 right now, but if we get 10 super chats during this stream, during this hour, I'm going to do a special live stream again on Friday. that goes over the updates from yesterday. And then I'm also going to hop back into BYDFI, and I'm going to go over and show you how the trades that I placed today are doing and give you a little bit more of an idea on where I think the market is heading. I think that even though tomorrow is going to be a little bit of a nothing burger, I think it will also I think that by Friday, we're going to have a little bit of an opportunity to see a little bit more about where this market is heading. Is it going to go from 81 back up, you know, towards 85, 90 and start heading in the right direction? Or is it going to go, you know, from 81 back down into the low 70s or even the high 60s? So if you guys want to see me again on Friday, 10 super chats will do the trick. If not, no worries, man. Like I said, no pressure. But if you guys want to shoot some super chats in today, you can also ask a question with your super chat. So you don't have to just, you know, throw $5 my way. If you want me to look at a token and, you know, possibly throw a trade in or at least evaluate the setup on a token that you're looking at and would potentially like to be trading, you can ask a question along with the super chat. Once again, this is something new that YouTube is offering. I'm just testing it out. No pressure, guys. If you do it, you do it. If you don't, no worries. You know, I kind of like having my Fridays off anyway, so I'm really not going to be all that disappointed if I don't have to live stream on Friday. But I will definitely live stream on Friday if we hit the goal. So let's run over here to BYDFI. And real quickly, although I know that you guys know that there's not a whole lot that I do that's real quickly, I do want to come back to this screen. So for those of you that are newer to the channel and you're like, what is this Varnell Trader Tuesdays? So I have created a somewhat unique trading system that has been very good to me, but full transparency, I haven't been in a position to really let it go the way that I want to let it go. So, you know, one of the top things about what I like to do in trading is I don't like to have to sit and watch my computer screen 24 hours a day. So my trades are set up a little bit longer term. You know, I was going to ask you guys, and maybe I still will, while I'm talking, you guys can answer this in the question. Why do you guys that are leverage trading, why do you do it? So I've got a few answers as to why people leverage trade, but I'm kind of curious to hear just from you, you know, Dave and Pablo, and I know that there's several of you that do a little bit of leverage trading. Why do you do it? And what I mean by that is, like, is it because, you know, well, actually, I don't want to give you any ideas. I would love to just hear your thoughts in the chat as to why you do it. And remember, folks, we are doing a giveaway today. You guys don't know exactly what criteria we're going to use to do the giveaway. So participation definitely helps your chances. I will just say that much. So if those of you that do some leverage trading, if you could give me the most important reason or why you do it, I would love to hear that. And then I'll come back to that and give you a few of the reasons that I think people do it. But with the Varnell Trader System, I don't want to have to watch my computer screen 24/7 and every little up and down be something that I'm worried about. So you guys can see here, for those of you that watched the show last week, I put this trade in during our Trader Tuesday last week. We got in at 21.14 cents. You can see right now it's down to 20.55 cents. Over the last week, it's been up and down and back and forth. I think the highest percentage gain that I saw it at was at around 30% or so. Like, I think my 15 whopping dollars that I put into this trade was worth a whole, you know, $22 or something like that at its peak. Maybe it was closer to 50% at its peak. But, you know, you can see here, it's, you know, just been kind of chopping around. Right now it's a little bit lower. So I'm actually down, you know, 30%. And this is one of the trades that I'm going to make today. I'm going to add a little bit to this trade because I love this trade at 21.14. So I really love it at, you know, 20.48. And we'll see. I'd love, while I'm talking here, for this thing to kind of go back down here, you know, into the lower 20s and get another little bit of money. But you can see this was a $15 trade, no stress. I did pull it up and look at it a couple of times just to see what it was doing, and and it really didn't do a whole lot. But that's what I like, is kind of stress-free trades. And so the way that I make my trades a little bit on the lower stress side is I use lower leverage. This is 10x leverage, but you guys can use 3x or even 5x leverage. And you can see here, I put this trade in at 21.14. Its liquidation price was all the way down at 19.2 cents. If you watched last week's stream, you saw kind of my formula, how I went to CoinGecko, how I looked out over the last, year to 3, 4, 5 years at the price action on Matic, and really believed that it had bottomed out. And as you can see, even with Bitcoin doing everything that Bitcoin has done, this thing has really stayed in a pretty tight range. I mean, it looks, worse than it is, but even Bitcoin has stayed relatively tight. We're talking about from 81 to 85 is a relatively small 2-3%, difference. And it's been similar with, so you can see here, if I'm down 27%, that means I'm really only down 2.7%, but with the 10x leverage, that makes it look like 27%. So 2.7% in crypto, as you guys know, is almost nothing. So the second part of my trader system is I like to back up my trades. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit about that today, so that those of you that are looking into, trying to get into some positions can decide and make a sense out of this and decide what bankroll you should use and what tokens you potentially want to look at. So there's a lot of different things that come into play when you're trying to decide what tokens to do the leverage trade on. So let's go back into the chat and see, did anybody put a answer here? So I leverage trade. So let me see here. What do we got here? One, to have the skill on trading. So Dave is using leverage trading as a way to build the skill of leverage trading. So that is an amazing reason to do the leverage trading. You out of here, son? Yep. I love you. Thank you very much again for that amazing thumbnail. Yep. Have a great day. We'll see you tonight. Yep. Man, I'm proud of that boy. He is an incredible young man. He's got a lot of stuff going on in life. He's getting ready to go to California and see his girlfriend. Yeah, he's got a girlfriend, and she moved to California, but it's cool, man. He's been working hard and making money, and, it's his second time now. So as a dad, I'm starting to relax a little bit. The first time, man, he had to drive in a couple hours to Vegas, park the car, hop on the airplane, go to California all by himself. And I wasn't real nervous. I knew he could take care of himself, but exciting to watch these kids grow up. My oldest child, my daughter, had a baby on December 26th. So I've got a grandchild, January, February, almost 3-month-old grandchild. My daughter's 21 years old. My son will be 18 or 19 in July. And it's just cool to watch these little humans turn into, people, grown-ups that are making their way in life and doing some pretty cool things. So he's excited, man. He's got a work shift that he's going to go do, and then he'll be on his way to the Las Vegas airport and going and spending a week with his gal in California. But let's get back to Dave here. So I love that. The number one skill, is to, or his number one reason is to learn the skill of trading. So let me ask you another question, Dave. Once you have the skill of trading, what is behind wanting that skill of trading? Why are you wanting to possess that skill? What are you planning on doing with that skill once you feel like you have honed your craft? Greg, I leverage trade to pay for lunch while I'm at work, and I also pick a bill for the month, and I try to pay that as well. Awesome. Awesome. So that's a little bit more along the lines of one of the reasons that I was thinking. Let me see here. The idea was to trade my way to more profits. It's been going the opposite. Yeah, I know what you mean, Dave. It can definitely be frustrating. We haven't really, talked individually on what your strategy has been. I know that you put in the long on Solana, the 15x long on Solana a few weeks back, and that actually started off doing extremely well. And so, it looks like you're using a little bit higher leverage at times. And with a 15x leverage trade, I would have probably, had we been, conversing one-on-one, I would have probably moved my stop loss up in that particular situation. If I do anything higher than 10x leverage, I'm usually looking at it as a shorter term trade. And so I will normally, at the very least, once I get into solid profit, which I think you were in solid profit, I think you were at least at like 100% profit. You had doubled your money, I'm pretty sure. So I think I would have probably raised my stop loss at that point. But that's a learning experience. And it's also, it could have came back down and not got liquidated and then ran back up too. I don't know what you did. If you closed it out with a little bit of profit, if you closed it out at a loss, if it ended up getting liquidated, but it's all good learning experiences. Pablo Noodle says, using smaller amounts of capital for a greater long-term gain. Personally, I use less than 10x as I'm in longer term, and with crypto volatility, it keeps me in. So right here, I think, is one of the secrets to utilizing my strategy. I use 10x leverage because I wanted a little bit more excitement, and I wanted you guys, to see some bigger wins. But I think Pablo might be onto something. To be totally transparent, I kind of feel like 3x leverage, 4x leverage might be the way to go, as he mentioned. So to give those of you just a real quick, math on this, let's say that you're investing into a $1 coin with 10x leverage. The way that you can figure out what your liquidation price is going to be is multiply the 10x leverage times the number that's going to equal 100. So 10 times 10 is 100. So if you're using 10x leverage, that means you can lose 10% of the trade, of the value of the trade, because you're using the leverage, you're going to lose 100% of the trade. So if you put in a 10x leverage long on a coin that is $1, if that token goes back to 90 cents, you're going to get liquidated and lose 100% of your money. Now, let's say that you want to be a little more conservative and you use 5x leverage. Well, what times 5 is 100? 20. So now you've got a 20% cushion. So with 5x leverage on a $1 token, it would have to drop all the way back to 80 cents for you to get liquidated. So now let's do with 3x leverage. What times 3 is 100? Well, 33.333333, right? So what's 33 minus 100? That takes you all the way down to 67 cents. So if you do 3x leverage, you would have on a dollar token, it'd have to drop all the way back to 67 cents before you would get liquidated. And if we take it out one more step, we're just going to do one more step, but let's just say that instead of you don't want it to get liquidated at 90 cents if you did 10x leverage. So you put in another trade at say 90.25 cents, and you put in another trade to back it up. That would get you around another 9 cents. So that would take you down, say, into the ballpark of around 91 or 92 cents, or excuse me, 81 or 82 cents for your next liquidation. So with one ladder, as I call it, you would get all the way down to say 81, 82 cents. You'd have about an 18% cushion. But with Paul's strategy, check this out. 33% of 67 is what? 3 times 6 is 18. Is that right? Yeah. So 67 times 33% would be roughly 22 cents, 20, somewhere in that ballpark, about a third. 3 times 22 is 66. So let's call it 22 cents. So 22 cents from 67 takes you all the way back to what? 57, 47, 45 cents. So with one ladder, so Paul can put in a trade on a $1 token with 3x leverage and then put in one ladder at a little over 67 cents. And that's going to get him all the way down to a 45-cent liquidation price. So the token that he's in would have to drop over 55% in order for him to get liquidated. And when you're placing trades on tokens like this that have relatively bottomed out, like we're looking here at a 20-cent, Polygon token right now, there's no way Polygon is going down 55% to under 10 cents. And, theoretically speaking, he's only got one ladder in. So let's say that he did a $100 trade at $1, and then he did now he backs it up with, say, a $200 trade at 67 cents. If it did get all the way down to 45 cents, he could do about a $400 trade. And now from 45, another 33% from 45 is 15. That would take him all the way back to 30-cent token before he would get liquidated again. So he'd literally have a 70% cushion. Well, folks, nothing's guaranteed in life, but I will bet any amount of money. Like if you want to bet me money right now, that I will bet you, $1,000 that Polygon Matic does not drop by 70% during the rest of 2025. So what's 70% from 20? So 70% would be 14. So I will be willing, if anybody here, in fact, I'll give you 5-to-1 odds. Like, if you want to bet money, I'll put up my $5,000 to your $1,000 that Matic doesn't go below 6 cents in 2025. And obviously that's going to be on a spot basis. I'm not going to lose my $5,000 because some joker on here decides to place the bet and then they go on one exchange and somehow they figure out a way to crash the price to 6 cents for a millisecond, and then it runs back up. I think you guys get what I'm saying. I don't expect any of you to take me up on that bet, but that's the power though. And if you look at Paul's profit, if you take a look at this Matic trade, even with 3x leverage, if Matic goes back up to $3, that is a 15x times 3x leverage. That's a 45x with just 3x leverage, and that's if Matic just gets back up to its previous all-time high. What if it goes up to 5 or 6 or 8 or 10? So at $5, it's now done a 25x times 3x leverage would be a 75x. So Paul would be looking at turning $100 into $7,500 even with 3x leverage on this trade right now. And I think, I showed you guys this last week, but let me go back over here and kind of, let me go through here real quick and get through the rest of the answers. But that is a great answer, Paul, for trade and investment of crypto platform. Eric says, I think leverage is great for helping you understand more about the charts and price action. And let me go back to this. Christine Joy, thank you for being here today. Appreciate you. And she says, for trade and investment of crypto platforms. So I'm not 1,000% sure what you mean by that, Christine. If you want to clarify in another comment, I would love to know exactly what you're saying there. But I do want to give you a shout out and let you know that we appreciate you here and appreciate you being on the channel. So Eric says, I think leverage is great for helping you to understand more about charts and price action. Absolutely. 100%. I definitely agree. And, and then GTA says, I only leverage trade when I'm really sure about something. I usually do spot buys. 100%. Buying spot, in my opinion, is the best investment strategy also. I think that what we're doing here on Tuesdays can be very powerful. As Paul talked about, we're using a small amount of money to hopefully have, a massive gain in our portfolio. So if you go buy $100 worth of Matic token right now and it goes to $3, that's cool. You turned 100 into 1,500, which is definitely still exciting. But just with 3x leverage, we just showed, you're turning that same $100 into 4,500. And so for people that have a little bit less money, it gives them an opportunity with $25, $50, $100 here and there to make some significant gains. But I'm with you, GTA, and want to thank you very much for being here today. John says, if I lose a trade on leverage and get liquidated, do I have to pay the money I borrowed to the exchange? So, John, that's a great question. And so there's two different ways that you can leverage trade. You can leverage trade. We'll click over here on the isolated. You can leverage trade with isolated or with cross. When you do isolated, the only money you can lose is the money that you put into the trade. If you do a trade with cross margin, then one position could literally implode several positions, or if you just have USDT standing by. So trying to figure out a simple way to explain this. Let's say that I got to share my screen. I noticed one thing, that I'm trying to talk here and show you guys stuff on my screen, and it obviously isn't working. So go back over here and click on this for you. So you can trade with cross leverage or isolated leverage. If you're on isolated, you can only lose the amount of money that you have in the trade. You cannot end up owing the exchange any money. Now, you're never going to end up owing the exchange any money, but with cross margin, that can implode multiple positions. Like, say you have two positions that just stay break even, but you have one position that tanks down and just goes down, 75%. That 75% loss in the one position could end up getting you liquidated in the other two positions. You're still not going to owe the exchange any money, but when you use cross margin, you can definitely lose more than you have in the trade. So with cross margin, you can literally say you made $100 trade, and then you put $1,000 in your margin account. Your liquidation price would be all the way down to, let's just, for easy math, let's say that you did $100 trade and you had $1,000 in USDT also in your margin account. So that $1,000 isn't part of the trade technically, but it is collateralizing the trade. So as the trade goes down, let's say your dollar token goes down to 75. Well, now the $1,000 that you had in your account, you might only have access to, say, 800 of it. 200 of that 1,000 is now collateralizing that $100 loan. And if you don't do anything and all of a sudden it becomes a 50-cent token, now 500 of your 1,000 might be tied up in that trade. So you now have a $600 risk. Even though you've only got $100 trade in, $100 upside, you've got 600 risked, and so on and so forth. And so theoretically, if your $1 token went all the way down to 90 cents, yes, you could lose the whole 1,100, the 100 that you put into the trade and the 1,000 that you had in your account that was collateralizing the trade, but you would still not owe the exchange any money. So you're not going to be in a position where you owe anybody any money. But you can definitely lose more than the $100 that you had in the trade if you're using cross. And that's one of the reasons that I've been kind of sticking to isolated. It really depends on your cash flow and your situation. Cross margin is a great way if you've got a big chunk of money. Like if you go put in $1,000 trade and you back it up with $5,000 or $10,000 in USDT, the odds of you getting all the way liquidated are pretty slim. That token would just have to have an absolutely massive downswing in order for you to get liquidated. So even if it went down by 25, 50, 75%, as long as it came back up at some point in time, that trade could turn into a winner. I do the same thing, but I do it kind of with my ladder system rather than cross margin. Hopefully that clears things up just a little bit. Pablo says he usually uses 3 to 6 leverage, and he says he still has been liquidated on some trades. Yeah, absolutely. It's, hopefully you were able, when you got liquidated, hopefully you were able to get in and get a new trade in at that new lower low, or, maybe you haven't been doing the ladders. I don't know if you still, how many ladders you had in and what kind of loss you took it on that. But so now I want to give you guys my take really quick on why people leverage trade. So in my opinion, all of your answers were fantastic, but I think it kind of comes back to a couple of different things. Most people that leverage trade are looking to do it because they want to create an income stream with it. So there's a difference between investing, spot buying, and holding for the long term, and trading. And most people want to learn the skill of trading so that they can make daily money. It's kind of like, poker's a bad example because there's not really a long-term version of it. But in poker, if you get good enough at poker and you've got a bankroll and you've got a trading strategy or a poker playing strategy that's going to win, you're going to have some ups and downs. You're going to have some variance. You're going to have some swings. But overall, your graph should slowly go up and to the right, and you should be consistently making X amount of dollars per hour. So one of the things you do as a poker player, you keep track of all of your sessions. And let's just say that over the course of 100 different times that you went to the casino and played poker, and you say on average you played, for 5 hours each time you went. Sometimes it was 2, sometimes it was 10, but overall you played 100 sessions times 5 hours. So you have 500 hours that you played. And let's just say, for argument's sake, that over the course of 500 hours, pull up my calculator here so I don't have to try to be a genius. It tires me out. So let's just say that you made $10,000 over the course of those 500 hours. You would divide 10,000 by 500, and that would give you 20 bucks an hour. So at some point in time in poker, you can kind of determine, okay, this is worth $20 an hour to me. So theoretically speaking, you know that if you went and played poker for 20 hours a week, on average, you're going to win $400. Now with poker, you're still going to have 1 week where you win 1,000. The next week you lose 200, but you still ended up basically at 400 for the 2 weeks. And the longer go, like if you take that 500 hours and now you extrapolate that out to you play another 400 sessions. So now you've got 500 sessions and you've got 2,500 hours played. Now you can be safely assume that whatever your hourly rate is pretty darn close to right. The longer you play for, divided by how much you won, will give you a pretty true hourly rate. So if you were a poker player and you knew you needed to make $1,000 an hour, then you would have to say, okay, you're going to play poker 40 hours a week and you need to be in a game where you're going to win 25 an hour on average. Well, trading is a very similar thing. As you get better at it, you want to develop a system where hey, I win 6 or 7 or 8 out of 10 trades on average. I'm betting this amount of money, and I normally win on average for every 10, 20, 50, 100 trades. The higher the amount, like if you go do 10 trades and you make $500, you can tell yourself that your average is $50 a trade. But by the time you've traded 100 trades, you may or may not still be averaging 50 a trade. You might be averaging 20 a trade. You might be averaging 100 a trade. So for everybody, it's going to be slightly different. But once you know that average, then you can kind of work backwards if you want to create like an income. Like if you have the goal to create some steady income, like, Greg was mentioning that he picks out a bill that he wants to pay. So in Greg's situation, he's doing it for a very strategic reason. He wants to make money to pay a bill that month. So what Greg should do, or what I would suggest Greg does, is back it up, figure out how much money he's making on average per trade. And let's just say that it's $10 and he wants to cover a $300, bill. Well, then he knows that he needs to do 30 trades this month in order to average $10 a trade and be able to pay that $300 bill. So I think that that's one of the number one reasons that people want to trade, is they want to be able to make consistent money while they're waiting for their spot bags to moon, which can take, as you guys see, it can take longer than expected. So it could take a year, it could take 5 years, it could take 2 years, it could take 3 months. But it's kind of nice to have that consistent income coming in from the trading. I think the other reason that people like to trade is, a little bit on the impatient side. You have the opportunity to make some bigger money quickly. So there's a little bit of a gambling aspect to it. And I think that there's probably some other reasons, but I think those are two of the biggest reasons that most people trade, is they want to make money now and they want to give themselves an opportunity to potentially make a big hit. Like in poker, I use poker as an analogy a lot because poker really is a great analogy for a lot of things in life, and it really lines up a lot with trading. But in poker, if you want to earn a steady wage, a steady living in poker, you want to play cash games. The variance in a cash game is much lower. You might win 6 or 7 out of 10 sessions. If you want a big score, then you buy into a poker tournament where there's a bunch of people and you got to wade through 1,000 people field. And most of the time in a poker tournament, other than being up in the top 2 or 3 or 4, everybody else makes a relatively small amount of money compared to their investment. So the only people that make a big hit, like say where they turn $200 into $25,000, is the winner of the poker tournament. Maybe second or third place makes something substantial. But most people, even if they get into the money, are going to turn 200 into 500, turn 200 into 800, turn 200 into 1,000 or 1,200, which there's nothing wrong with, but I wouldn't consider that to be like a big hit. Where in trading, spot buying gives you the opportunity to make some significant profits, but it's over the long haul. Where trading gives you, like a poker tournament, the ability to hit something big in a shorter period of time. Now, both of those reasons, in my opinion, are legitimate reasons to do it, but I want to make it clear that with the Varnell trading system, that's not why we're doing it. We are doing it on the longer term play. Like Paul mentioned, he's looking at longer term plays. He knows that these trades, he's going to try to keep them in play for a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months in some situations. But he's also looking at turning a small amount of money into a 50x, 100x, 150x. And so you just kind of have to decide what the best strategy is for you. But thank you all very much for your answers. I love all the answers, and I appreciate your input. So let's get back over here to BYDFI. We were talking about how much money you can make on a trade like this. So this is a $15 trade, and I got into it at 21 cents. I showed this briefly last week, and I'm going to be brief here this week, and then I'm going to go in and get a couple of trades done. So if we go in here and we type in a price, let's just say that we think, $1 is an absolute no-brainer for Polygon to go up to. And if you looked at the charts that I showed you last week, you would see why, $1 is like basically the bottom. Like it would be near impossible for this thing to not go back up to $1 as the market improves. And so at $1, you can see here, I turn a $15 bill into $559 with this trade. I'm in it for 15 bucks. At 21 cents here, you can see here 21 cents is where I got in this. It's a 10x leverage trade. So if this token goes from the 21 cents that it was at when I bought it up to $1, I'm going to turn $15 into 559. So, let's go out. How many times 15 is 100? 70, or 7 times 15 is 105. So you can basically take those numbers and multiply them. Let's say that was a $100 trade. We do 559 times 7 would take it up to $3,900. So a $100 trade on Polygon Matic at 21.14 cents. So that's even higher than where it is right now. So it would be even better. And it's down at 2037. I'm going to jump in and go buy some more Polygon here in a second. But $3,900, and that's just at $1. Once this thing gets back up to 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, $1, there's no reason to believe that it's going to ever come back down and liquidate you. So you can afford to leave it in there long term. So let's say that it takes 3 months for it to go up to, $3, back to its previous all-time high. At $3, I turned that into $1,979. So 1979 times 7. 1979 times 7 is $13,853. So a $100 trade right now would be even worth a little bit more than that. But a $100 trade on Matic that goes back up to $3 is worth $13,800. It's 138x. Now, if we just go buy Polygon spot, that's an incredible thing to do too. If you had $100 and you go buy $100 worth of it at 20 cents and it goes up to $3, that's a 15x. You're going to turn your $100 into 1,500. But if I do what I'm doing, I'm going to turn $100 into almost 14,000. And that's the power of smaller money with a little bit of leverage. And so let's run over and place another trade. So I got to do a little work here. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit about how to use BYDFI while we're at it. So let's just say that you got your account created. The link is, if you don't have a BYDFI account, you probably ought to go get yourself one. The link is right here, about the third one down. Just click this, go create your free account. It's going to take you to a page that looks like this. You literally just email and your password, and boom, you're in, and you'll be attached to me. You will be referred through my link, which qualifies you for extra bonuses and giveaways. So if you haven't created a BYDFI account, I highly recommend it. They don't require a VPN or KYC if you're in the United States or Canada. So a lot of the platforms that restrict United States and Canadian citizens, BYDFI is not one of them. They welcome us with open arms. So anyways, you go in, you create your account, you log in. When you log in, you're going to basically end up at a home page that looks like this. And so one of the first things that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to deposit some funds. So you're going to come over here, and this is going to show a 0 for you, and you're just going to click on deposit. You're going to come over here and decide what you want to deposit. You can deposit, I mean, hundreds of different tokens. You can see here, there's a pretty exhaustive, very long list of projects that you can move from your personal wallet or your Coinbase wallet or wherever you're holding funds. So earlier today, I had some ADA that I wanted to use for this trading. So I sent myself 300 ADA, which is now ready to go. So you're just going to pick a coin. So you pick, let's just say you decide that you're going to do just USDT. So boom, you do USDT. You're going to select the network. So this is important. You want to make sure that the network that you're sending your USDT from is actually supported by BYDFI. So you got Arbitrum, you got TRX20, you got ETH, you got Binance Smart Chain, you got Solana, you got Matic. If you can't figure out how to send some USDT over on one of those networks, I can't help you. But you pick your network, that's going to generate, a address for you. You're going to copy that address. You're going to run over to your wallet. You're going to send yourself some funds. Once your funds are here, if they're in USDT, you're pretty much ready to go. But let's say that, like me, you sent some Cardano, or maybe you sent some Chainlink, or whatever you decided you wanted to send over. You can just click here on markets and then go over to the search bar here and type in ADA. And here it is. Boom. We're going to then click on trade. We're going to come over here and sell that ADA into USDT. So ADA is sitting, oh my gosh, I don't want to sell ADA. It's at 68 cents. Oh, never mind, folks. I am not going to, well, I'm going to sell a little bit just to be able to show you guys what I need to show you, but I might buy it right back. I don't like selling it at 68 cents. This was literally 80 something cents just a few days ago, and it popped all the way back up to $1. I got to get in touch with one of my friends that sold a bunch of his ADA at around 60, 65 cents and tell him, man, this might be your chance to get back in. I don't think that he ever bought it back, and then it ran up to 80, 90 cents on him, and he was sick. I might get in touch with him after this show and let him know, hey, maybe you get some of your ADA back while it's down here in the 60s again. But anyways, what you're going to do, we're going to sell some ADA. So we got 300 ADA here. I'll just sell it all and then buy it back. So, and I'm not going to get greedy. It's showing here at 68.74. There's a buy order here at 68.71. So I'm just going to click here at 6871. Sell all 300 of it, hit sell ADA, and boom, just like that, I now have, if we go back over here to my account, we now have, $214 in USDT. So now, in order to be able to trade, you're going to go over, hey, Paul, thank you. Thank you for being here, Paul. Have a fantastic evening. We'll talk to you again very soon. So we're going to run back over here, and we're now going to go to derivatives. This is how you trade with leverage. And we're going to go to the top one here, USDTM. Now, once we're there, we need some funds. in order to sell. You can see we got a whole $1.40 available, but now we have 214 in our spot account. So what we're going to do here is we're going to hit this plus, and that is going to pull up this page where we can send from spot to our USDTM wallet. So I've got $214 there for right now. I am just going to send 50 of it over. It's totally free to transfer funds. You can transfer back and forth internally for free 1,000 times a day if you want to. So you don't have to worry about that. So I just want to do 50 bucks. And then I want to get over here and I want to do another trade on Polygon. And so I am going to just do right where it's at here. It's at 2038. I'm going to go down to 2035 and see if we can catch it at, well, now it popped back up to 2040. I'm just, for the brevity of the video, I'm just going to do the where it's at right now, which is the 2039. Hit the long button. Real quick here, make sure isolated 10x. So I'm on isolated 10x. Sometimes you're playing around and you do bigger leverage trades, and all of a sudden you'll go to do a 10x trade, and this thing will be sitting on, you know, the 50x trade that you did, you know, the short-term trade. So you always want to verify that you got your leverage where you want it. Then we're going to hit long and confirm. And it said insufficient margin, so it's not going to let me do 100%. Let's just do 90%. See if it'll let me do 90%. That's fine. 90% at 2039. Hit long. All right, boom. That looks like it worked. So now you can see here, it hasn't executed yet. It's close. It's got to pop down to 2039 for it to execute. Right now, you can see this order here where we've got the order in at 2039. And if for some reason it starts to head back up, then that's not going to execute. So we can see here it's at 2043. I'm very much hoping that that it drops back down to the 2039 and doesn't just keep heading back up. I kind of missed this little wick here. I wish I would have hit, you know, this little wick here, but it is what it is. So while we wait for that to go in, I'm also going to do a backup trade because now I've got a little bit more money. When I just had the $15 here, I wasn't all that worried if it ended up getting, you know, liquidated. It ended up getting liquidated. But now I'm going to have, you know, more like $55, $60 in on this trade. And I don't want it to get liquidated on me. So what I'm going to do here is if the liquidation price is $19.20, which it should go down just a little bit if this executes. So if this gets down, this trade was at 21.14, so it's down about 3.5%. So if this goes down to the 2039 for me, then my liquidation price should be slightly lower. But let's just say that instead of 19.20, let's just say that it still is at 19.20. So in order to back up my trade, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in and place a this is driving me crazy. I mean, 3/4 of a cent is nothing here. I'd really like to see this trade execute so I can show you guys exactly what I want to do. It feels like it wants to, you know, kind of pop back up to the 24.55, 24.60 range. No, now it's coming back down to 20.43. I'm just going to leave it there. But let's go down. So 19.20. So what you now do if you want to create a ladder trade that will allow you to have a much lower liquidation price, we're going to go here and we're going to manually change this 2039 to 19.25. So that might be slightly high. We'll see when this executes if that's a little high, but 19.25. And then in order to back it up, now that I'm going to have about 55 in the trade, I want to put this backup trade at around double. So I'm going to go back over here and add a little bit more money to my account. I'm going to add another $110 to my account. And boom, just like that, now I've got $115 available to me. And now at 19.25, I'm going to go do another, say, 95%. See if it'll let me do 95%. That should be just over $100 or so. So 95 Okay, yep, and let me do it. So now I've got this second trade here for $110 at 19.25 cents. So now if this thing does run down, 9-10% from 21 all the way down to 19 something, I'm going to have this trade that kicks in, and then I will get basically another 1.9 cents. So that would take my liquidation price all the way down to say around 17.5 cents. And the reason that I picked this coin, I showed you guys this week, but when you're looking at tokens and looking at which ones you want to do this with, you want to pick tokens that you believe are somewhat bottomed out. So I showed you last week Cardano, even though now it's way, way, way down, but even though it's down to 69 cents, if you go look at the max chart for it, you can see here in the not too recent past, like just in October of last year, this was a 35-cent token. So that's almost a 50% decline from its all-time low during the last bull cycle. Right here on October 3rd of 2023, it was all the way down to 26 cents. And the reason that I tell you that is because if Bitcoin does decide to crash from 81,000 back down to say, 65, 66,000, these altcoins are definitely going to get hit hard. And this is another reason why you might heavily consider using 3x or 5x leverage if you want to jump into some of these, because that can be extremely profitable with a lot less risk. So Cardano, as much as I love it, and as much as I think that buying it at 68 cents spot is probably a great buy, Cardano is not a token that I would want to go do 10x leverage trade on right now. Where if we go over here and go ahead and look at Polygon, if we look at Polygon Matic, we want to look at the old one. Let's see if they're close here together. Yeah, so we want to look at the Polygon X Matic because it shows the whole chart, where just regular Polygon doesn't show the whole chart. But if we go out here and we do the max chart, you can see, look here. You can see right here on this chart that this is about as low as it's been in years and years and years. Like if you go all the way back here to, this is November of 2024. So kind of about where we were looking at Cardano a minute ago, when Cardano was at 35 cents. This was still at 29 cents back in November, which is a significant chunk higher than where it's at now. Right now, it's at about 33% lower than this. And basically, this is only going back out a year. I want it to go out this. Let me do Poly and see if I can find the right one. Let's do this one. I must have brought up the wrong one. So this one here, we do max. There we go. So you can see this was all the way down to 2 cents, but this was all the way back in 2020. So if we look here at the peak of the market, this was a $2, $3 token in 2021. As this thing crashes, so this is 22 when it really started crashing. 22, 38 cents. All the way across here, you go down to October of 2023, 56 cents. Even when you go here to November of 2024, you're looking at around 30 cents. And right now it's down at 20 cents. So to me, if I'm looking for tokens that I don't think have that much more room to run down, then I'm believing that Polygon is one of them that is a great one that probably doesn't have a lot of room to run. Another one that I was showing you guys, man, I hope some of you guys were watching last week and took a trade on Atom. I was basically, I did everything that I could to not sound like financial advice, but, look at this thing. It's up 22% in the last week. So you'd be up over 200% had you put in this Atom trade. And I showed you guys on the chart how this thing was down at $3.80. Let's see if we can show you $3.78. And I showed you on the chart where that was the absolute lowest amount that I'd seen Atom in years. Like you look all the way back here in 2023, it was $3.95. In order to get to less than 378, you had to go all the way back to 2020. And if you look here, the peak of the bull market here around, November, December, January of 21, 22, it was all the way up over $40. When it had that first major crash, it came all the way down here to $6.77, bounced all the way back up at one point here to 16. But you can see all of these. You go here, this was in October of 23, it was over $6. And even if you go back to this dip here, which is right around November of 2024, it was $4.81. So I knew that at $3.78, it was probably bottomed out. But the other part of this, folks, if you do a trade at 378, then you're getting 37 cents before it's going to liquidate. So your first liquidation would have been way down at around 340. And then if you do another ladder at 340, that's another 34 cents. You could have got all the way down to a little over $3 on an Atom trade. That could have been spectacular, and it already is spectacular. Now at $4.62, and that's a little riskier because you're talking, in order to get back down to this 378 price range, that's what, 10% is 46, 20% would be 82. 82 from 62 is pretty darn close to this this 378. So this thing could drop back 20. And, at 10x leverage, that would take you down, to this 378. So you'd have to have at least 3 ladders, maybe 4 ladders in place if you were going to use 10x leverage. Now, I still think if you wanted to do 3x or 5x leverage, this would be a great token. But this is one of the main things that I do when I'm looking for tokens, and do I want to long them? So another one that I would take a look at is, remember, folks, we're not necessarily trading these tokens because we absolutely love the token and we want to hold a big bag of it. When you're trading with leverage, it's just a vehicle to make you money, and you don't really care. Sometimes you might jump in the Ferrari. That might be the right vehicle for the event or whatever you're trying to make money in. But if you're trying to, cross over the desert, over rough terrain, you'd be much better off in a Jeep. And so my point is, with this, you're not looking to necessarily only long the tokens that you absolutely love and that you would like to own, and you'd like to have a whole great big huge bag of them. You don't care if the token is Bitcoin or if it's poop coin. If it looks like it's bottomed out and you believe that it's got a significant upswing possible. So another token there that I think is a great one to do this type of leverage with is, Polkadot. And for those of you that have been watching my channel, Mr. Eric Bernstein, or anybody that's watching still, could you tell me roughly what I told you the all-time low of Polkadot was during the last bull market? Does anybody remember, basically, if you go back over the last 2, 3, 4 years, what the all-time low, where I told you I felt Polkadot would be bottoming out at? If any of you remember, throw it in the chat for me. We're going to go down here. I want to show you guys here, 7-day range, $3.87 that this was down to. This is another one that I talked about last week. And here we are. What's 10% of 444? Well, or 10% of 33.90 would be 39 cents. So this thing is up over 10% in the last week, which would give you over a 100, it would give you 100% gain. So if you had invested 100, you'd have over $200 in Polkadot. Eric, close guess, but remember I went through, I thought I had done this a couple of times. And if you go back, you can actually see here in October of 2024 here, where it dipped down to around 370. I can't quite, this is a longer chart. It's hard to get it right there, but it did dip down into the threes. Trust me on this. I guarantee you at some point in time, if I can hit this right, it dropped down into the $3.70 range, but it stayed there for literally no time at all. It was back up to over $4 within a week or two. And so $3.70 was what I told you guys I felt like this had bottomed out at, and that even if Bitcoin went all the way down into the 60s, that it wasn't going to get smashed off dramatically like some other tokens might. Like Cardano, as much as I love it, if Bitcoin got smashed all the way back to 66, I could see Cardano running back to that 35, 40 cent range, where there's no way, in my opinion, that Polkadot is going to run back 50% back to like a $2 token. So this is the type of tokens that I'm looking for. Another token that is on my radar, and so I want to look at it with you, is ICP. If you look at this chart, $461 and then a straight cliff down, and then ever since. But even this it's a little, like we go back out here to November of 2022, it was $5. We go out here, $5, $5, $5. Here's some $4. So we got it down at $4 here in 2023. Let's see where it was at so it ran all the way up during 2023 when we had that first Bitcoin bull run that took Bitcoin up to 73. This ran all the way up to $18. And then if you go just the recent past, we're looking at really this $5 range is pretty darn close to about as low as it has gotten during this bull market. So whatever your views are on ICP, whether you like it for a long-term investment or you don't, I think it's got potential for trading because it's pretty close to bottomed out. Like this thing, in my opinion, is not going to go down to a $2.50 token on us, even if Bitcoin gets, kind of crushed out. If you go all the way back, like I say, this is all the way back into 2022, and it's nowhere near, you couldn't, like its all-time low here is $2.87 it's showing here. So 287 on September 22nd of 2023, that's its all-time low. And then other than that one dip, it hasn't been even in the $4 hardly at all. So this would be another one because once again, remember, if you get a 10x leverage, that's 56 cents. So that would take you all the way down to like $5.06. And then if you do a ladder, that gives you another 50 cents. So you're down to like $4.55 with one trade and one ladder. With two ladders or three ladders, you can get yourself all the way down into the $3 range on this token. So that's what I kind of look at, folks. It's a little bit more intensive than that, but we've already been going for an hour and 15 minutes. I don't want to keep you guys here forever. So let's run back over to BYDFI, but that's really... I try to make this simple because I think the more you complicate trading, the more mistakes people make and the more that most people don't even get started. So something that is so important is the reason most people never get successful in life is because they never get started. The fear of failure, the fear of the unknown, the fear of like just all of the thoughts that come to your mind when you want to go do something new keep 99% of the population from ever starting. So my goal, I want to make this so simple for all of you that have never done a leverage trade that you're like, okay, I can go do that. I can go throw $100 on BYDFI and I can do a $15, $20, $30, $40, $50 trade like Brad is showing me and then back it up. And I'm going to run back and show you that and get that done. But, I want you to see how simple this can be. The only question that you really have to get in your mind is whether or not you want to do 3x leverage or 5x leverage, or I would say 10 is the absolute maximum. There's no way you're going to be able to do enough ladders with my system if you're at 15 or 25x leverage. You would just have to have thousands and thousands of dollars because you would have to be putting in a $25 trade backed by a $50 trade, backed by 100, backed by 200 or 300, backed by 600 or 700, backed by 1500, like literally with just a few ladders. And remember, at 25x leverage, it's only got to go down 4%. So if it's a dollar token, it would only have to go from $1 to 96 cents to get liquidated. So you'd have a trade in at $1, then you'd have a trade at a little over 96, then you'd have a trade in at 92, and then 88, and so on and so forth. So just to get from $1 back to 80 cents, even if you started with a $25 or $50 trade, you would have thousands, like probably $10,000 worth of trades in play by the time you got back to 80 cents. And then what would you do if it got close to 80 cents and you got a choice? Either it goes to 80 and your 10,000's liquidated, or you got to go get another 20 grand and put in a 20 grand trade at 80 cents, hoping that it doesn't go back down to 76 cents. That would be a crazy place to be. Now, obviously, if you had unlimited money, I mean, like if you got the 20 grand and then you got 40 grand and you got 80 grand and you got 160,000, you got $1 million that you want to back these trades up with. I mean, it would be a phenomenal thing for somebody that had that. Like, can you imagine you end up with $100,000 in on this trade, and the token is from $1, it's beaten all the way back down to 70 cents, and then it rips back up to $1 and beyond. I mean, obviously that would be a dream. Well, that's kind of what we get to do on a smaller scale here with, $10, $15, $25, $30, $40, $50 trades to start with. That's what we're trying to do with a little bit lower leverage. Anyways, it does not look like these are going to execute for me. My 2039, it's back up to 2046. So I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of the 2039. And then we're going to do, so that gives us $52 in the account. So perfect. So we're going to just go here to the 2047 and do 95%. Hopefully that'll let me do it, and hit long. I just want to show you guys. All right. So that worked. So now if we go back here, you can see here. So trade history, you can see right here where that executed, where we got in at 2047 for 2,424 pull. Cost me a 30-cent fee. But if we go over here, so now my positions, you can see I've got $64 in this trade. It's down, $4 or $5, $3.51. But you can see here, yeah. So my liquidation price now is $18.71. So this trade here that I've got in at $19.25 is a little too high. So I'm going to go ahead and cancel that and go back here, and I'm going to put my ladder in. So if my liquidation is at 1871, I'm going to come back over here and manually type in 95. That should give me a little bit of room. And then I'm going to do basically the whole 110 here, as much as I'm going to try 96%, see if it'll let me do 96%. And it did. So here we go. We've got our order in now here to back this up. This is at 18.95 cents. And then to give you guys an idea, it doesn't show me there, but 18.95, 0.1895 times 10% is 1 point. So it's 0.1895. If we subtract 0.1895 from that, it takes us down to around a 17-cent liquidation price just with the one ladder. If I wanted to go in and do another trade at around a little over 17 cents, that would get me all the way down to around 15.4 cents. So once again, if you go look on CoinGecko, if you take a look at CoinGecko and you look at Polygon, this thing has not gone down to 15 cents, except for way back here in the previous bull market, back here in February or so of 2021. This thing was 15 cents before it skyrocketed all the way up to its previous all-time high of $2.92 on December of 2021. So since December of 2021 up here, like I say, you cannot find a period in time where this token has been anywhere near 15 cents. And it really, this 20 cents is about as absolutely low as I have seen it go. Hey, that rhymed. So folks, that's Trader Tuesday for today. Oh, we got to give away a little bit of money. Okay, no problem. We're going to give away 50 bucks today. And so how are we going to do this? I think, let me go back over here real quick. We're going to, this shouldn't take too long. I know there's just a handful of you on here today, so it shouldn't take too long. Let's do StreamYard giveaway, StreamYard.com giveaway. We are going to pull up this live stream that we're doing right now. And in order to qualify for the $50 giveaway, we are going to do just hashtag freedom. Let's do, I like me and my all uppercase letters. So let's get caps on and do uppercase freedom. So for those of you that want to have a shot at $50 in USDT, type in hashtag freedom. There's only a few people watching, so we are not going to let this run very long. Dave, I see that you updated your description. Fantastic. I will get that over to you after the stream is over, and hopefully you enjoy the spoils of that. I think that's going to be a great token. So hashtag freedom, hashtag freedom, hashtag freedom. It looks like we got everybody in there. I'm going to do, what do we got here? It's 10:21:26. So we got 10:21 and 30 seconds right now. I'm going to do the drawing in exactly 10 more seconds. So 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Draw, baby, draw. Who is going to win today? Los Santos Crypto, you win $25 in USDT. Do me a favor and let me peek over here again real fast at something. Let me get onto the USDT withdraw page and let me see what network. I'm going to be sending it here from this account. So you tell me in the description. I don't care. The fees aren't that high. So you tell me. You can have me send it to you on Matic. You can have me send it to you on Arbitrum, TRX20, Ethereum. Ethereum is a little bit higher in fees, so let's not do Ethereum. But like Solana, Binance Smart Chain, TRX20, Arb, or Matic, any of those. Los Santos, you have to be here. Okay, I see you in the chat there. So real fast here, what you're going to do is you're going to go here to your bio. I'm going to click on this so that I have your bio here. You're going to go here to your about on your YouTube page, and you're going to go ahead and give me a Ethereum-based address like a MetaMask or wherever you want $25 in USDT sent to, preferably on a cheap network like Polygon, Binance Smart Chain, Solana, Arbitrum, and just tell me what network so that I make sure I send it to the right, send it through BYDFI at the right place. So go update your address and what network you want your $25 sent to you on. And then let's go ahead and draw another winner. I am feeling a little froggy today. One of the things that is a absolute, Eric Bernstein, man, congratulations, buddy. So same thing, Eric, if you want to DM me on Telegram, you can. And or you can put it in your YouTube, whatever you want to do there. But appreciate you, Eric, and glad. I always like to see some of my OGs win. Los Santos Crypto, congratulations again, though. I know that I've seen your name before, but you haven't been around the channel a long time, so I love seeing new people win too. But congratulations, Eric. And yeah, man, I look forward to sending each of you guys $25. But what I was starting to say was one of the agreements that I put into place with a sponsor. So depending on whether I go with Weeks or if I go with this BitToNex, one of the stipulations is that they're going to sponsor this Trader Tuesdays. And so I'm going to have the ability to give away, you know, 25, 50, 100 bucks, somewhere in that ballpark, every single week on this Trader Tuesday live stream for you guys. So I appreciate each and every one of you being here. Remember, folks, this is not financial advice, but at the same time, you got to take action. If you sat here and you watched for the last hour and a half, make it worth your while. Like I'm telling you, straight, flat out, 100%, my opinion is even if you go place a $15, $20, $30 trade and you lose your money, you're better off than if you just didn't do any trade at all because you let the fear of the unknown or just, you know, the fear of losing hold you back. Right now, in my opinion, the market is very close to bottoming out. And even if I'm wrong and we go a little bit lower and it takes you a couple of $100 to kind of learn what I'm doing and what I'm talking about, you know, you can go back. These videos are recorded. You can go back and watch, you know, small segments of them too. You don't got to watch all of it. If you go back and watch where I actually placed the trade today, and then watch how I placed and, you know, calculated the backup trade, just remember 10% roughly of whatever. So if a token is 35 cents, 10% of 35 is 3.5. So 35 minus 3.5 would take you down to about 31.5 cents. So if you go place a trade on a token that's at 35 cents with 10x leverage, your liquidation price is going to be roughly 31.5 cents. And it'll show you that on BYDFI. It'll show you what your liquidation price is. So now you just go to a slightly higher number. Like if it was 31.5, I would probably go up to 31.65, 31.7 and do another trade. And once again, you want to back it up with a little bit more money than you did. So if your first trade was 25 at 35, you probably want to do like a $50 trade at 31.65 in order to back it up. And then, you know, 10% of 31 is 3.1. So 31.65 backed by, you know, a little over 3 cents is going to take you to what? 28 cents and change. So if you wanted to do two ladders, you would go back in at around 26, you know, 8. Use a calculator, figure it out exactly for yourself. Go to your, you know, but go to 28 something and put in a trade at, you know, at 28 something for $100. So now you got a $25 trade at 35 cents, a $50 trade at, you know, 31.65, and then another $100 trade. So you're in this trade a total of 175 bucks. But I was showing you even on my $15 trade how that could potentially turn into thousands of dollars as this thing goes up to $1, $2, $3. So get into action. Go create a BYDFI account if you don't already have one. Use that link in the description and go do some trading, folks. Man, get your feet wet. And I'd love to have you guys come back in a week or two and tell me how it's going. Tell me what trades you decided to make today, what tokens you decided to trade. And would love to hear, you know, your guys' opinion on that next week when we come in for Trader Tuesday. So we'll see you tomorrow morning for the Crypto Gem live stream. Hopefully see you at noon tomorrow also for the NEURAHUB live stream with the $100 giveaway. And with that, man, have an incredible rest of your Tuesday, guys. God bless, and we'll see you very, very soon. Bye-bye for now.